These 12 seconds are lasting an eternity. I strive to think of a way to save Lynn and the little lady the whole time. But how can a ray of hope reach this far down into the deep sea? Before I can think of an answer, the 12 seconds are up.
Traveling by torpedo.
Yep.
That's just super crazy.
Yep. Detective Jowd! I bet that big masked man did this. I'm going to bite him. You'd better not, you might break your teeth. The command room has lost power and is sinking, so I wonder what that masked man is going to do. Let's talk to Detective Jowd. Sorry for the wait, Detective Jowd. Who are you? Are you Cecil? Please excuse my appearance. I can't believe you made it here. How is Camilla? What about Lynn? Well, it's kind of a long story. I told Detective Jowd about everything that happened on the submarine Yona. So the submarine is badly damaged? Why would he do that to his own submarine? I wish I knew. I know the answer to that one. It's because he's afraid of my powers. You followed us? I didn't even notice. It's been 10 long years, Detective Jowd. Are you? Your meal? So you remember me, do you? How could I possibly forget? So that's your real name, huh? Yamil. That's right. But those people on the Yono were calling you Cecil. That's just an alias I was using for my deal with them. I didn't see any need to tell them my real name. Could you do me a favor? Would you let me ask you some questions? I've been trying to find out my true identity all night. Sure, go ahead. I'm sure there's plenty we can still tell you, right, Detective Jowd? Right. 10 years ago, you were a top systems engineer, weren't you? Systems engineer? What's that? By the way, I'm a top Pomeranian, you know? Well, it's kind of hard to explain to a dog, but it's a person who's good at using computers. I don't mean to brag, but I was one of the best in the industry. That's how I got roped into joining that project. Project? What project? It was a project aimed at reorganizing the nation's top-secret information. The goal was to build a new system using multi-dimensional programming theory. I was asked to join the project by an agent of the government. It doesn't sound like something a top Pomeranian would know anything about. To me, it just sounded like another challenging job. However, this project was also the target of a secret plot.
Secret plots.
Yeah. I bet you can imagine the kind of crime the nation's top secrets might attract. I never thought, for the life of me, I'd ever have to deal with spies. It was never made public, but every organization in the country moved in on this one. And then
Spies. It was the Russians.
Shut up! And then one day, the name of a certain programmer emerged as a suspect. I was the guy who built the core of the system. The police arrested you, and then that incident happened. He escaped from the interrogation room and took little Lynn as a hostage. By the way, Detective Jowd, when was it that I was proven innocent? About 6 months after your death. I'm so sorry, Emil. 10 years ago. My soul was split from my body and I lost everything. I was sealed in eternal darkness. I existed in this world, no question about that. But nobody noticed my presence. What good were my powers? They didn't help anybody. Not even the passage of time could heal my pain. In fact, it only made it worse. I wanted to disappear, but I wasn't even allowed to do that. The way Lynn described it is exactly right. Sinking slowly towards the bottom of an endless sea. An overwhelming fear of loneliness and despair. And I wanted all of you to suffer what I was suffering. And so that's why you murdered Alma. That's right, I wanted you to know what it was like to lose everything you cared about. I wanted you to feel the same pain I felt. What? It was the twisted witch of a mind poisoned by infinite loneliness. And then, as I was plotting my revenge, I had an idea. I came up with a plan to use these powers of mine to make a deal. There's something I just don't understand about the deal. I'm sure your powers would be very valuable to them, but what would you get out of the deal? A new life. Life? I asked them for 2 conditions. Number 1 was that they helped me with my revenge plot, and the second was a rebirth for me. Rebirth, a new beginning, huh? I didn't care if it was a fake life, an artificial life. I just wanted a physical receptacle for my soul. A name, identity, and everyday life. I wanted to grow old in a society that would accept me, and finally I wanted to die surrounded by a loving family. That's the kind of life I asked them for. A completely man-made life. That's right. I knew I couldn't hope for any more than that. To make it all come true, I knew it would take a lot of money and a lot of power. That's why I decided to ask a national government to help me. And their response in the end was betrayal. They were making their moves much more carefully than I suspected. They sent spies to this country and researched my powers on their own. And they even figured out what Temzik was all about. And you had no idea they were doing this? None at all, I was a fool. So then, why did they go to all the trouble of making a deal with you? Why didn't they just steal the hunk of Temzik meteorite from the park? They couldn't. Huh? After the manipulator incidents, research was conducted in this country too. A report was submitted to the government about the source of the manipulator's power. By Inspector Cabanella and the old pigeon guy, huh? At first the government didn't believe the report. But then they decided to put the park under surveillance just in case. Surveillance, huh? It just looks like an ordinary peaceful park, but there are armed agents there at all times. Don't tell me that odd leaflet guy is one of them. No, not him. He's just a plain odd person. That's nice. Very classy, Emil.
He's just a regular odd person.
A regular odd person. That park is like a silent battlefield on an international scale. So that's why they couldn't steal the Temzik meteorite. And lately, under the pretense of building a housing site, they've been working on a plan to destroy that park in order to secure the Temzik meteorite. So that's it, huh? So the upshot of your grand deal was this, huh? Yeah, it's the ending I deserve. But at least there's one thing you must be happy about. What's that? You finally managed to seal me away at the bottom of the sea forever. Well, shall we get started? Started with what? Bringing Detective Jowd back to life, of course. What? What good will that do now? But we promised! We promised Miss Lynn and Miss Camilla we'd save them. And we can't do that without you, Detective Jowd. I've been guided by fate tonight to this place. I won't give up now. Alright, fine. Let's see where it leads us. Here we go then. Back to 4 minutes before your death. Rewind time. "4:23 a.m. So, where are we heading? We are not heading anywhere, Detective. What? There was only enough fuel on board to launch us away, Detective. We will run out soon and that will be our destination, Detective. What are you talking about? That would mean that you're trapped here too. By the way, I'm not human, Detective. I'm a remote-controlled robot detective. What? Your country's use of technology is just plain off. We get that a lot, Detective. Why would you go to all this trouble to do this? That's nothing but a shell there. It's hardly a threat anymore. Commander Sith...
Not my fault.
Totally your fault. Commander Sith likes to provide against any possibility, no matter how small, Detective. Possibility? What are you talking about? There is no need for you to know, Detective. Now it is time to say goodbye, Detective. In the end, your fate remains the same, it seems, Detective. Grrr, Camilla, forgive me. It isn't over yet. It isn't? Remember what the big masked man said. Any possibility, no matter how small. Possibility. In other words, there must be a chance here somewhere. The possibility of turning the situation around. And it's simple, huh? What is it, Detective? Look at your mule's shell. There's no aura emanating from his body. Of course there isn't. The Temsic fragment is gone. Could this change his shell? Give us some kind of lead? I figured it out. I know this possibility, no matter how small, is what they're afraid of. Blech. What is it? My time was perpetually stopped thanks to the power of Temsic. His body cycled between the moments that separated his life and death. Right, but not anymore. The Temsic fragment has been taken away. Exactly, so what does that mean? I get it. Your body won't come back to life anymore. The moment the Temsic fragment was removed, my shell became a regular corpse. So let's see, that means we can go back? Back to 4 minutes before your death? But wait a minute, exactly when is that death? That's simple. We'll find out when we get there. Let's move. Rewind time.
You're so tempted to do the Doctor Who theme.
No.
I won't, I just said I was tempted.
I fell back through the cracks of time for what seemed like forever. Then I saw it. The final death at the end of this long night. Who exactly am I? I've already seen all of the clues. All I have to do now is remember. The final journey to the truth starts now. And that is the end of chapter 17. And now I have to say that, obviously, as you've probably guessed, if you couldn't have guessed, chapter 18 is the final chapter, and it is also the final time we get to use our ghost tricks. So,
naturally, it's the end of the game.
Shut up. So, next time we will be fighting the one final battle left against fate. So, until then, farewell my friends, and I will see you soon.
Also bye.
I hate you so much.